Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Benavidez beats down and forces Demetrius Andrade to quit. Going into this fight I was picking Benavidez. I felt a late stoppage was very possible, but not a stoppage quite so early, I have to admit. And really, listen, this was a one-sided arse-whooping. I've been, making boxing content for quite some time. I've been viewing it for even longer. And, for the best part of 10 years, I've had people tell me how Andrade is this precocious talent, who everybody is ducking. He's elite, he's a master boxer, this, that, and the third. Yeah, here we are. Domination by Benavidez. And really, the writing, in my opinion, was on the wall in the third round. Andrade, to his credit, I think he came to fight. He actually started relatively well in the first couple of rounds, like many of us thought he would. When he was fresh, when he was agile, when he has that kind of moment of surprise on his opponents, he was able to land some good sweeping southpaw left hands on Benavidez's body. He also landed that shot to the head. Occasionally he would throw some real nice combinations. Primarily the combinations were hook combinations, but he was able to light Benavidez up a couple of times in the first couple of rounds. And he was boxing okay, man, but the issue was he was landing, but like I was saying in my prediction video, I felt that Andrade to win this fight would have to hurt Benavidez, and despite the good shots he was landing early on, they were having no effect on Benavidez whatsoever. And Andrade was trying to sit down on those punches. But I felt Andrade started okay in the first couple of rounds. Even throughout most of the third round, Andrade did okay. He was trying to give Benavidez some lateral movement. He was trying to box around Benavidez. But one mistake he was making that Andrade constantly makes, or has made throughout his career, was his ducking. He very often ducks down to either go for a clinch or duck below the waist, and very often his head is not protected. He's not protecting himself with his hands, and I've never understood why no fighters have tried to time that with an uppercut. That's what Benavidez was doing as the third round was progressing. He was finding a home for his uppercut on Andrade, and as soon as they started landing, you could see that Andrade was feeling those shots. And as the third round was progressing, Andrade was getting more and more uncomfortable, and Benavidez was getting closer and closer and closer, landing more shots. And after the third round, quite frankly, Benavidez started to beat up Andrade. In the fourth round, there was no hiding place for Andrade. He tried to clinch, he tried to move, but he couldn't get away from Benavidez. Usually the clinch is Andrade's safe space. He clinches... Well, he's clinched very effectively, let's say, in previous fights, but Benavidez in this bout was able to push him off. He was able to get a free hand, use the uppercut, and even, as I said, even time Andrade coming into the clinch with the uppercut. And Benavidez was walking down Andrade towards the end of round 4. He catches Andrade with a big overhand right. Andrade had his glove up, but the shot went above the glove, basically hit him in the face, and it dropped Andrade. He seemed quite hurt by the shot, but, he was able to see out the rest of the round and get to round 5. But, yeah, the writing was on the wall. Benavidez was just tattooing Andrade with uppercuts, hooks to the body, looping overhand rights to the face. He was putting his shots together. He was pushing Andrade off. And he was just dominating physically. Andrade now and again would have moments of success, but they were fleeting. And round 6 was the last round. Once again, Benavidez just walking down Andrade, doing what he wanted to, basically. There was one moment in round 6 where Andrade landed a nice combination on Benavidez, but, he was sustaining a lot of shots, a lot of volume by Benavidez. And at the end of round 6, when Andrade got back to the corner, his corner pulled him out, aka he quit. And that's it. And considering all the talk we've heard about Andrade for the last literally 10 years and more, it's kind of a sad way to go out, isn't it? Expected a bit more from Andrade, quite frankly. I didn't expect him to win. I was picking Benavidez, but Yeah, didn't expect him to go out quite so early and like that. So his career now, 35 years old, doesn't have the most appealing style out there. It's going to be hard for him to come back, quite frankly. As for Benavidez, well, I've said it a couple of times now. For me, he's the only legit fight for Canelo at 168. I know David Morrell looks good, but, I think he needs a little more experience. But for me, Benavidez versus Canelo has to happen. I've been saying it for a while. I think it's been obvious to anybody with a pair of working eyes. Benavidez is the most interesting fight for Canelo at 168. Let's just hope if it does happen, it's a real fight. But yeah, good win for Benavidez, I guess. And he got the job done. He got the stoppage. Been a decent year for Benavidez, beating Plant and Andrade. Let's hope 2024 he continues on this path and gets big fights. And we'll see how good he is. And then obviously after that, in the distant future, let's start seeing him move up in weight, fighting at 175, things like that. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy, peace.